From its premise to its flawless execution, Black Lagoon as a show is a Hollywood-styled action showcase that includes enthralling action sequences on boats, carts, to downright and dirty, messy fisticuff battles, littered with bullet-spamming gunfire that makes you feel bad for the janitor that has to come by and sweep away all the damage and carnage and all the bullets the cast characters create within their wake. Delineating from the typical overflow of seasonal isekai slice-of-life comedies and strenuous bullshit that gets released quarterly in the anime medium. Featuring blank, directionless, and aimless protagonists, Black Lagoon actually has well-defined characters as it explores the life of criminals and their sometimes overglorified lives and the mindset that can create as their perceptions of reality bend and twist as they go through life beautifully, dangerously, in this maddening morality play, challenging the humanity of the cast of characters that we have. Which is all but unique in a time where the ultra-violent storytelling seems all but obsolete, popping up here and there in films such as John Wick, Anna, Atomic Blonde, and the Hellsing OVAs, which are about 10 or 5 years old by now. Overall, violent media isn't something that hasn't exactly survived as the visual storytelling medium continues, because action movies in our increasingly sensitive culture, where people cry about everything because we've reached the moral epitome of what humans can achieve, therefore people squabble over minor injustices because that's what they want and that's what they want to fight for, or almost have nothing better to do, seems completely barren. Thus, with entertainment, it's always a question of, should I be enjoying this, or should I be rooting for our quote-unquote hero who seems to be completely evil or all too human, as this said character climbs up a foundation of corpses for whatever goal they have. As the Lagoon Company, a delivery outfit operating out of Southeast Asia or Indochina, break the law to get the job done, no matter what it is, accomplished. With sporty two-hand Revy, the gunslinger, Dutch the master tactician and level-headed captain, Benny the technical expert with glasses, and Rock, whose real name I forgot, but he's the accountant, who is the outsider getting pulled in where becoming a super criminal, on the fictitious criminal city of Roanapur, where criminal kingpins orchestrate international crime through bloody shit and mayhem. But ultimately, where the heart of the show resides is in the romance between Rock and Revy, who are 2 points in a philosophical conversation between something akin to idealism and something else that is completely nihilistic and provocatively grim, as it slowly unfolds into a tragedy where violent men and women who walk gleefully to their doom, while the men and women try to stop them, fail and end up joining them, where the action is grand and fun until it isn't, where characters' inner demons are not made by their victims by invaders who carry the darkness with them into others and infects them like an infection. Revy tries to keep Rock from this by attempting to preserve his morality and ethics, but slips in Roberta's blood trial. Roberta tries to keep Garcia from this, a child, but sucks him in like a vacuum, and Genji tries to keep Yukio from this and fails spectacularly as she commits seppuku, or suicide, by stabbing a katana through her throat and bleeds out horribly. But what do we learn about this? Overall, Black Lagoon is a story about taking apart archetypes, not necessarily for the meaning, but what we find, but for the sake of the process, for the sake of the story, which makes for a message with lasting resonance beyond the fictional nature of this series, that somehow was designed to last, unlike other certain fictional work author Rihore has made, which from my point of view can be described as artistically lacklusting. Recreators. But transparently, as I said, the most intriguing aspect about Black Lagoon is its characters as they deconstruct action movie tropes, being death-defying fanfictions featuring pure moxie, where in more standardized action scenario movies within subgenres, the series has everything from complex characters, ethnic gangsters, nuns with guns, creepy children, slasher maniacs, cowboy samurais, and endless loads of recyclable henchmen whose fates are sealed by a genre, but preserved through relative and abstract violence. For example, due to the criminal nature of the anime and the complexity of the characters, despite how irredeemable and merciless they might be, the action showcase is cathartic, making the moral ambiguity fluff for the breathtaking action that's seen, as we come to understand the characters while not losing the fact that these characters are terrible people. Yet we understand these people as they have very dynamic and provocative thoughts and feelings than what is displayed on the surface level. For example, when the hobby of Rock saving people's lives takes a backseat to his less helpful idealism, becoming the stealth antagonist, transforming into one of the members of The Walking Dead, finding a place in the city of the dead, which is Roanapur. Ultimately, at the end of the day, Rukuro becomes Rock because this is the world he's dealing with. It's shits and bullets as far as I can see, and it'll never be what you want it to be because violent lies in violently. And that lone fact that truism has a destabilizing effect on who this person is as a character, as violence is the one and only option he has to solve his problems. As he himself is also an antagonistic force that drives who he is, also demonizing the city as an antagonistic force that he's trying to oppose. But then again, upon another evaluation, Rock's character is an audience proxy, as he isn't even in the one shot of the series and was added upon editorial request. Not only does he fit the archetypical role perfectly, but he leaves it becoming something else and more during his ride along with the cast of characters, allowing his outsider morality to bring in new perspective that allows him to thrive and survive within this world, which isn't something to be congratulated or praised, but feared because the outsider, or in this case Rock, is almost wrong all the time, leaving bodies washing up on the shoreline of some far begotten land. To understand this better, it's important to remember the reason why Rock is even in the Lagoon Company. It's because he's an audience proxy. Thereby, an extension, he's compulsively drawn to and fascinated by Rebecca Lee, also known as Revy, and her capacity for violence with a gleeful smile. As the main protagonist fantasizes her origins and how she became a pirate and who she is, to only realize her backstory is as fucked up and sick as she is, bringing an understanding of how she became to Aunt Revy, the government woman with no ambition than materialistic and hedonistic need. Though circling a common thematical occurrence, this series constantly displays characters always needing and wanting something, let it be emotional or physical, even if the characters don't admit it themselves, while they scavenge throughout the world. They want something and they need something, but yet they always are drawn together because they are stronger together. Rock does explicit profound emotions into Revy, as a romance between them is more than a predestination of both their titular lead characters, but the gravitational push and pull allows them to grow closer even when they are apart. But the fundamental problem that spells doom for their relationship is that Rock is unable to see Revy for who she is, just as Revy can't detect the true nature of Rock either because of who they are, but continue to explore unexplored territory with one another with mutual fascination in one another. Revy does like Rock, and there are reasons that individuate him from everyone else in her mind, from everyone else that exists within Roanapur. When both characters are equally essential, though, Rock drives the story than Revy's actions within the story. This makes it so that Revy and Rock's relationship is the real protagonist of the show, as the ambiguity of their relationship is just as a reflection of the outsiders moving inward to one another within the narrative becoming closer, and that is the conflict is the heart of the show, and it leads to a breakdown of communication, which allows the events to transpire within the narrative. At the end of the day, Black Lagoon is an action show, but it's also philosophically showcasing a range of anachronisms and versatilities no matter how volatile it is. It's exciting, dramatic, and comedic at times, though at the end, it might ultimately head down a path of tragedy for our titular characters, because if Rock and Revy do become more emotionally involved, in all likelihood it will lead to tragedy and a hail of bullets.